people's opinion really matter, both personally and in business. Because let's be honest, sometimes opinions can fuel you and sometimes they can stop you right in your tracks. Tonight, we're going to unpack the good, the bad, and how to keep moving no matter what's said. And let's talk about it.
Yes, let's talk about it.
Yes, let's talk about it. So first, let's get on to the personal side. So while we naturally seek validation from others, the difference between constructive feedback versus toxic criticism. So let's
Ooh.
talk about that. Like, can somebody be really giving you some, how do you know when somebody is giving you some constructive criticism or somebody just really just kind of just throwing you under the bus or throwing shade at you and just saying little stuff, you know what I mean? Like, how do you know when it's like vice versa?
Right. I think, well, for me, and what I would share with our audience is that we ought to all pray and ask God to give us a spirit of discernment. And when I say a spirit of discernment,
Mhm.
that's for me, it comes from my higher power. That comes from God, from God through me, so that I can really reveal and understand what's going on when me and my natural mind may not know. Because God has shown me
Mhm.
things in dreams. He'll show me things right when I'm looking at a person. I can feel the
Right.
energy. That's that spirit of discernment, but you got to ask for that. Some people were born with it naturally, and some of us had to ask God about it, right? So, okay, so say for instance, if you have that
Mhm.
spirit of discernment, or even if you have not yet sought God and asked Him to give you that desire yet, you got to have enough how should I say this? Enough understanding to I hopefully that you could read people. Because for me, I know I can read
Mhm.
a person and my discernment is kicking in. You can tell a lot of times by a person's body language and you can read their faces. A lot of times people don't even know they showing on their face what they really thinking about you. And I know when I used to be in some business meetings at my job, when I knew it was a lot of buffoonery and shall I say fuckery going on, I had to check my face because my face would be like, but so okay, with all of
Mhm.
that being said, I think that constructive feedback, you can feel it because it's coming from a place of love. It's coming at you in loving kindness. It's not trying to
Right.
belittle you. It's not trying to make you feel less than. It's not even trying to talk you out of what you want to do. If
Right.
somebody really cares about you and they don't think what you're doing is
Right.
okay, they'll say to you that maybe you should rethink it. Maybe you ought to pray about it. They'll give you another way other than just trying to shut you
Right.
down. So to me, that's the toxic side. When you have envious people, let me calm down because I know what this feel like. That when you have envious people don't want to see you succeed,
Mhm.
but if they mad at you and they can't even hold it together, then that's that toxic
Mhm.
stuff. You need to cut ties with people like that. Because just because they're not doing anything, they don't want to see you do anything. They don't want to see you
Mhm.
succeed. And those kind of people are real, and a lot of them are hiding in plain sight right in your circle. That's my opinion.
Right. That's facts. Now, I know like sometimes people put things out there like on social media. You may put a post out there or you may share some things, and sometimes people share things that may have happened to them, or sometimes people may share things that are personal to them. And then of course when you do those type of things, there are those things what we all call opinions.
Mhm.
So can a person really get upset off of somebody else's opinion if you put your information out there? Because I feel like a lot of times people get in a bag off of what people may say in the comments. And that's why if you ever look at a lot of these celebrities, they always say, oh, I don't read the comments on
Mhm.
because I don't know people. And that's the thing. You don't know these people. They're going to form an opinion. It may not be aligned to what you're dealing with, and they may be being in a negative place. However, it's like should I take what they say in as value, or should I just be like, okay, you said it, and now, because sometimes I see people going back and forth with somebody who you may not even know, but they
Right,
just
right.
their opinion. So should you even pay that any attention?
I think, okay, in the words of my good buddy, Coach Prime, Coach Deion Sanders, what he always says is that I'm not going to let anybody's opinion of me make me feel any kind of way, right?
Right.
When you know who you are, then you cannot let anybody else's opinion of you worry you. Because I always say anybody's opinion of me, that's their business.
Right.
Whatever opinion they may have of me, that's not my business, because I know
Right.
who I am. Some people are literally just trying to get you, like you say, out your bag, trying to take you out of character. But as soon as
Mhm.
you put it out and you allow that to be public knowledge of whatever you're going through or whatever you're feeling, then you got to have that thick skin to where you don't allow that to trigger you, right? You don't want to
Mhm.
have it some, I don't know what's going on with your camera. Sit there, go, you coming back. But I
Okay.
think you have to have that tough skin so that you don't let other people's opinion bother you, because somebody's always going to have one, and we're not
Right.
always going to be everybody's cup of tea. Like Queen Rocky said today, she said, you know what, I'm not for everybody, but I am coming.
Mhm.
My story is not universal. But if you
Right.
reach that one person, if what, oh, I'm getting chills, whatever you've been called to do in that moment, if you reach that one, if your testimony can lift another one, then you did your job. But honey, you best believe it's going to be some chickens in the barnyard while we eagles are up here soaring. A chicken is going to be pecking all the day long, because
Right.
that's all it knows to do is be in the barnyard, pecking at poo, trying to bring the other chickens down. And if you're not even a chicken, you should not be, you're an eagle, you should not be rolling with chickens. But my bottom line, don't let it get your skin thick, especially if you're in this social media area. And I had to learn that. I had some old classmates,
Mhm.
honey, they was hating on me, and I'm trying to bring them together. They thought they was gonna be on my own Zoom trying to dog me, and I'm looking at their faces. They ain't even wise enough to know that I can see you in this camera. But it just
Right.
had to be a severing. God said, get out of that room. You too big for that room. And see, God put me in
Mhm.
rooms with queens like you, with queens like Nikki Saunders, with queens like Coach T and Coach K. God said, you can't always be the sharpest knife in the drawer. So just be prepared.
Facts.
Yeah. Don't let it
That's
bother you
facts.
to where it stops you.
Correct. And I agree with you wholeheartedly, because I see that happen with some people where they really do get in a bag off of what people say in comments. And again, you don't know these people. You can have a situation and it's nobody. And really, honestly, what I feel that we have to do as people in general is we have to stop feeling like just because you don't agree with somebody that you have to hate that person or dislike that person or you have to fight with their opinion, because at the end of the day it's called opinion, is their opinion, and everybody has the right to have their own opinion. So you can't
Come
get
on.
mad off of somebody's opinion, off of
You
whatever
can't.
it is.
And you
Right.
know, the saddest part that I've seen real time is when you see celebrities, people that
Right.
got real bags of money on the internet going back and forth, cussing people out,
Right.
going ham. And one of the ones that always pops to mind is Cardi B. And I'm
Mhm.
thinking, girl, you a mother. You got young children watching, don't see this. And then she'll get the going. She be ready to start speaking in Spanish, and Cardi cussing. She can cuss you out with the best of them. And back in
Right.
the day, I could too, honey. I worked for the Navy, honey, but I could cuss like a sailor. And even still grab you by your edges, not physically, but by my mouth. You know,
Right.
a lethal assassin. And an
Mhm.
assassin can assassinate somebody with their mouth. But what do I look like at this stage in my life? Even back then, I wasn't on social media like this. But at
Mhm.
60 years young, I'm not going to get out here and start scrapping with nobody in these YouTube streets. I will tell you, we're going to agree to disagree, or I will block your behind, and you don't get to be in my arena. because I want it to be a safe space. This what we have right here is a safe space. We can agree to disagree with folks, but you're not gonna bring me out of character and make me cuss you out like somebody tried to make me do a few weeks ago. I didn't even grab her edges. The Spirit of the Lord said, I'm not that one. I'm gonna just tell you, I'm not that person. I warn you. See, that's the one. You got to get a warning before the great destruction. But don't do it. We're better than that. We are elevating ourselves. Elevate yourself to a higher power and know that some people do just want to drag you down, get a click in the view, and just hurt your feelings. And if you start cussing them out and twirling like a Tasmanian devil like they are, then they won. You gave them the power.
And that's the reason why I brought this topic up, honestly, today. And it's more on a more personal, but again, we're going to be talking about business too with this topic. But the reason why I brought this topic up, honestly, is because as I showed you, what my sister was going through with her daughter, where at the daycare, where the daycare owner had basically abused her daughter at the daycare. And it's been all over the news. It's been put on social media. It's been put out there for pretty much a lot of people to see. And the thing that I was most concerned about was her and her emotions about this, because again, just because we know the person was wrong, we know that's no doubt about it. We know that the daycare person had no business putting her hands on her child. She should have reached out to the mother, reached out to the father and said, hey, your child is doing whatever. I need you to come and pick up your child, or, you know, can you come and get her? Or, you know, what do I need to do from here? Like, you know, there should have been some type of communication going here. However, in the comments, because, you know, there are some kids who sometimes they have behavioral issues and different things going on. And so what people would say in the comments, they're like trying to degrade her character on her parenting skills, or trying to talk about the child, about, you know, her, about her not being disciplined or not being, you know, doing different things. But it's like at the end of the day, we all know different things can be a factor in different situations. However, I don't want her to see that, because at the end of the day, the wrong is still wrong. So regardless of how it happened, how it started, or what happened, there's no reason for an adult to put their hands on a child. However, the comments of, oh, this and oh, that, I was like, okay, I seen some other family members going in there, going back and forth with people. I'm like, it's not necessary. You don't know these people. You don't have to go back and forth with people that you don't know. You know your truth. You know what happened. You know it was wrong. So just go suit with it. Don't go back and forth and talking back and forth with people, because it's for real, you're giving them too much energy. And the energy needs to be getting this girl where she needs to be. And that's no longer having that daycare no more. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's how I'm just like, so I'm like, we have to learn how to trail our energy. And I know I used to be victim of that when I used to listen to people, and I used to always want to make everybody happy. Like my thing was, oh, I want everybody to be good. I want, you know, I'm always trying to, I was a people pleaser, and I was always one that wanted to please everybody, and I wanted to make everybody happy. And then I would get upset. And then and like one of my friends, Nikki, would tell me, she'd be like, stop letting them people live rent free in your head. Like if they appreciate it is what it is. So, and that's what I started learning more, because I was like, I can't, first of all, you're not going to have everybody appreciate everything you do. There's always going to have somebody that's going to say something, and people don't ask the right questions. People will ask subliminal things just to try to get something out of you. And I'm like, first of all, I am smarter than the fifth grader. So if you come to me asking me weird questions that just don't, like, out of the blue, I know where you're getting at, but I'm not going to even say what it is that I know you're looking for. I'm going to wait until, because I realize, okay, are you truly an adult that you couldn't just ask me the question that you wanted to ask me, that you're going around it? You know what I mean? And then here you go forming opinions because you don't know the answers or know why. You don't have that who, what, when, why, and how. You're just trying to go off of assumptions. And that's what makes, you know what they say, what makes them people. And I'm going to say it, you know. So, you know, I just want people to know this is social media. And I just want people to understand that this is for the public. Social media is for the public. If you don't want certain people to hear or be able to comment on certain things on these public platforms, do not put it on there. Just don't put it on there.
Good. That's good.
There's going to be opinions from everybody. People may not like what I have to say. People may not like what I post. People may not want to hear about my business. People may not want to hear none of this stuff. However, at the end of the day, I'm going to use my platform to brand my business. I'm going to use my business. I'm going to use this for what I need to use it for. And I always feel, and the reason why I always throw a little motivational something out there in the morning is because I feel like people need some inspiration to start their day off. I don't like for people to feel like they starting their day off with some negative news. And a lot of times you'll see, like, I instantly delete people when I see them fighting videos and all that kind. First of all, how old are we? Like, I don't want to see two people out here fighting and carrying on. Like, this is just too much, especially first thing. So that's why I always try to do those motivational posts, even though it's crazy because those posts don't get a lot. But however, I'm still going to do it because I want people to see that and know that even if you are catching it in the morning, that you was able to say, okay, I'm going to have a blessed day. I'm going to be inspired. So what you think about that part of it?
I think that is absolutely the truth. I think that what you are saying, like you say, you the hammer, honey, and you just bang the nail, because that's absolute truth of the matter. And I pray and I hope that your sister, like I say, that she could shake that off, like how they say, water off the duck's back, shake the haters off. Somebody's always going to have something negative to say just to try to get that rise out of you. But even like you say, and even if you're sharing, even if her testimony, her story is giving another parent the power to stand up for their child, and that's what we need to do. Start flipping it. When somebody's trying to bring something to you in a negative light, then we need to flip it and point it toward the light. How is this story helping somebody? Because there are some people out here that think they can't fight the system. They can't go up against the school and the daycare. Yes, you can. Because remember when we talked about that, get the media on your side. Get other like-minded parents. So that could be a lesson for another parent. It ain't got to be the masses. It could be that one. See? And her story. So she keep her head up and know that she did the right thing to advocate for your child. You know who your child is. You know the circumstances. You don't have to prove that to anybody. And even I don't give a darn if the kid is having the greatest meltdown this side of heaven. Then you get on the phone and call me and I'll come take care of my child. You don't put your hands on it. That's not what we do. Back in the day when I was growing up, they had that corporal punishment. You could sign a waiver and let the teacher beat your children and stuff. I asked my mom, I said, why would you sign that paper? She said, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing?
Right.
I got to do with it. And once though, when the teacher tried to let another student hit me and whoop us, we're going to let another student whoop a student. No, we're not. I'm leaving. I got my coat and left.
Right.
But I agree.
That's what I said. We had that in school too when we was growing up, because I went to Catholic school and they would have the rulers, and like when you was and if somebody was acting up, they like, yes, they used to be able to do that back in the day when I first was like younger in school. But after the incident where a parent, I can't remember what year exactly it was. I think it was like sometime in the late 80s or whatever is when they start changing that law because of the fact that the person that actually killed their child when they was beating them. And that's when everything got changed. But before they used to be able to do that. But now, because they used to say, how they used to say back in the day, they still do. They say it take a village. And so like you could be here, if I was cutting up, the next door neighbor can get me, and then parents get home, they can get me too. You know what I mean? That's how it was back then.
Miss Lorraine, Miss so-and-so, beat your butt until your mama get home. Until mama gets home. But I think that is such a real thing now, because I know when they took corporate punishment out of schools, then the kids did go wild. You got kids now, some of them that do want to buck up against the teacher. But in that moment, I say stop everything, get the resource officer and the parent come and get this child. I'm not going to fight nobody's teenager, but nobody's teenager is going to fight me either. I think they need to pay teachers more money so that they can be the professionals that they are. Get more resource officers. If your child is out of control, they got to be picked up. If you got to pick them up enough times, then you're going to make them stop that behavior. There's ways around this stuff, but I think that back to the topic at hand. We can't worry about what nobody's saying. We're going to agree to disagree. I had a clip on one of my YouTube videos. I had on a beautiful outfit and it had the African continent on it. I saw that short today. I looked at it and had my little BB sneakers on. And this come up on my page, girl, come talking about that's an ugly outfit. And I said, oh, okay, now why don't you go share that with your 2 viewers if you have any? But get up. You ain't got to go home, but you're gonna get out of here. And I got him out of there. But I did throw a jab before I blocked him. You know. Right. I know I ain't gonna need no demon to tell me about my outfit. You ain't gotta say nothing. Just keep scrolling. Get on.
Exactly. And that's the thing, like people like, and I please don't kill me, y'all, what I'm about to say, because I know some people
say it.
But one thing I never understood is when I watch the news and I watch this stuff and I see people say they're getting bullied online. I can't comprehend how you can get bullied online, like something that you can cut off and something that you can block. Like, how can something like, I don't get that. Like, that's something that I don't know if it's because I'm not in this generation, maybe. I don't know, but I just can't see somebody getting bullied on a computer. Like, I'm like, okay,
and that's a good point.
Delete, control off delete.
And maybe it's with
and I know some people might think, oh, I said that. They might feel.
But no, you make a good point.
That's what I'm saying with the kids. Like, they're getting bullied.
But maybe the kids don't know how to immediately stop that. Because if I was a child, and even like you said, if it was 1 or 2 of them, or if it was a gang of them, I'll just turn the doggone comments off. I ain't got to hear from none of y'all.
Right.
You know, but maybe children aren't that savvy to say, I'm going to turn it off. But I thought initially when you saying about grown people, because ain't no way in the whole world that a grown person ought to be bullied. You try that with me. Like I said, I'm gonna get in your face real quick, and then I'm gonna block your game. You ain't gonna come back over here, even if you make a fake account. I get that one too.
You're right.
But people do that.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what it is. I know. I just, like I said, the computer, y'all. This is public. Just let it be. Like, you don't know half of these people personally. So don't let what somebody on the computer say disrupt your being. Don't let them disrupt your day. Your peace or anything. Don't let them take any of your joy away on that side. Now we're going to shift. We're going to shift and do the circle. Now on business opinions, how customers' feedback can grow your business, or when you listen to like those people, like when to listen to people when it comes to your market demand, your client needs, or when to stand firm on your vision, dealing with like the naysayers, or when you get those complaints and different things, or the balancing. Like, sometimes you'll have people who will be like, for example, let's just give this one. A lot of times people could come to you and say, oh, your prices are too high for your product or services or whatever that you're offering. However, that's what you're worth. You know what I mean? And then it's like, but you did your homework on what you have. And so you're like, okay, my prices is very competitive to anybody else. If you went to anybody else, you actually would be paying more money. However, they want to argue down and say they don't want your services, or either they don't want to work with you because they feel like, oh, that went up. And so then they want to start complaining. And I just think you need to bring it down. Then that actually sometimes can discourage a person thinking, okay, like if they're just starting their business, they may feel like, okay, should I be bringing my prices down, or should I keep it there? Or should I, like what should a person do? Now, me personally, I feel like a lot of times, and I hate to say this, but I feel like a lot of times is our own people, like family and friends or people that we're close to, that will want to link up, because there's always a thing like, oh, you can't do this for me, or when it comes to business. But then when they turn around, when they start doing business, they want you to pay their price, but then they don't want to pay your price. Right. But then the crazy thing about it is, if it comes to you supporting your own, you want a discount, but then you'll go to Neiman Marcus, Macy's, and everywhere else paying triple the price that you really be needing, but you're going to pay full price. Why is that? Or why should people have those opinions come into their business? And do you think that they should just like nip those type of opinions in the bud?
Okay. When I have this twofold for me, but what I have, what I feel is that when they talk about standing on business, when you're going to stand on what your business is, you need to stand on it. You need to set what the standard is for your business and you stand on that thing, because you do not devalue your worth. And I know initially I was doing that I want to do everything half off and I want to do this because I want to gain the customers. Now I believe in giving perks. I believe if I'm giving it as a gift, because I'm going to do that with a lot of my ebooks, right? You can get them at mrsdayall.com. But if I the ebooks as a gifting so that you can understand what my product is, then I can do it. But that's because I chose to do it. I'm not going to do it because somebody's trying to bully me or make me feel less than, or I'm outside. I think I'm all that. I am all that. And you got to stay with it, okay? Stand on that thing. And as far as with the people, the family, the friends, if they're a real friend, they're going to support you. If they're real family, then they with you. But those family members that want everything for free, then they not really trying to help you grow. How are they trying to help you grow? And if so, then pay me to help you get to where I'm at if you want what I got. Because see, but sometimes they don't want to grow. They don't want to see you grow. They don't want nothing. So you can't even worry about them kinds of people. But what I would say is that when you're getting feedback from a customer, if it's a real legitimate feedback that a customer is giving you on a product, then I'm going to need you to hear that. And then you tell them, thank you, I appreciate that feedback, because that could be something that could help you in the future that you may not have thought about or that you didn't see it. Don't instantly get defensive if somebody's giving you feedback. So that's the difference for me between feedback and constructive criticism versus I'm just want to get over on you and I'm going to try to talk you down. Because if you was trying to talk me down and tell me my product is not worth that, well, I'm so sorry you feel that way. Maybe sometime in the future we could work together. That's a cute way to say bye.
Yes, I like that. I like that. Yes, I like that.
My product may not be for you at this time, but when you're not going to find it nowhere else, a lot of times they'll be back. So don't crack their faces. Just tell them at this time. And my husband was a prime example of this. I met my husband. He was a general manager at a car dealership when I went to go buy a car. And I was buying this car with cash. I had $20,000 and I just wanted me an economy car. And so when he came, and I had been looking around, but I was tired. I was exhausted. But when he came out, I went to their dealership this day, looking at the car. He shows me what car they did have available, what it was. And then I go to picking up my phone. Well, this is what I found. I found this one at another location. And I got the stank face on. I'm just tired, girl. And he said, he looked at me, girl. I even had a booger in my nose that day. He gave me a tissue. I wasn't trying to be all that, right? I'm being all ugly. So I said, well, that ain't this. And then he looked at that. He looked at what I had. He said, yeah, but this is not new. This car is not new. You know, it don't have the warranties I'm offering you. Okay. He said, but if you choose to check somewhere else, I'll give you the paperwork. I'll give you the stats that we got, and you can compare them to whatever you're going to look at.
Right.
And I was shocked. I was like, damn. You know, he wasn't like, you know, well, it ain't this, it ain't that. He was just like, okay. But then I went out there, I looked again, and then, girl, this man gave me 20% off, gave me an extended warranty. And then they was going in and out. You know how they want to do by what it's going to be for the final cost. I had to go in and out 1-2 times because, you know, I know how to negotiate. But the third time when they came out, I heard the Spirit of the Lord say, give this man the business. Because they're girl, I got me a husband too. I got me a car and a husband. I know that's what was happening, but that's what God did. Shit. But I'm just saying, and that's what he talks about that to this day, being a salesman, that they don't, I'm not going to beg anybody for their business, but I'll let them know this is what I'm offering. This is what we have to offer. But take a comparison, take what we're offering and take it anywhere. And if you get a better deal, if I were you, I'd take it. But if not, I'll be here for you when you come back.
Exactly. And that's really good. That's really good advice what you gave. And because I say that with somebody, because even with me, when I first started, before I even got into doing business, my girlfriend Tanya, well, I call her more like a sister or anything, because she's like one of them people who, when I tell you, she's one of them people who would tell me like it is, and she don't bite her tongue, and she's straight up with me, and it's like all in love. And when we first started talking, and I was telling her my situation with me moving to Georgia from Philly, and I was telling her how the job thing was going and how things was working. She was like, girl, you should be doing this stuff you should get your own business. You should be doing this. And she was the one, and I took all her, like I started my site. I did all these different things with her, and she gave me all this information. But at first I was second guessing it. And I was like, I don't know. Because, I was still stuck on that 9-to-5 mindset. And I'm just like, I need them guaranteed money. Like, I don't know about this. But in the beginning, like she was telling me, just do it part-time and then still have my job. And then once I start making actually what I make at my job or more, that's when I can go ahead and walk away from my job. And so that's what I ended up doing. But I was listening to what she had said instead of just like, because, sometimes people would get into certain things and they'll be like, oh, and I'm letting people know, like, start your business. It ain't no quit your job moment. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be some moments where you ain't going to have no money. You know what I mean? But however, when it comes to business, a lot of times some people don't like to take information, because I knew it was a person that I actually was talking to. And I was trying to tell them certain things a while back about setting up and doing certain things with their business. But then I was being called the hater. And I was, I'm hating on this for all this kind of crap. And I was like, what? Like, I'm literally trying to save you money because I don't want to see you, screw this up. You know what I mean? Doing it right. But I'm like, sometimes some people, I think when it comes to advice, and like you say, when it comes to business, who really, and I'm not going to say you don't need to listen, like you have to really know who you're listening to. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes some people may look at, like, if as me as a family member, if I'm looking at another family member, I want to see my people come up. You know what I mean? Like, I always want to see, like, anybody, like I don't know why they say some women just don't want to see other people win and all that kind of stuff. Because I love to be able to brag on people around me. Like, I'm like, hey, Miss Day all day, she got the cook, she got the book, she can help with the shake, she can, like, I love bragging on, like, I talk about my sister. I'm like, hey, she does this, she's good with creativity. I'm always going to brag on people who's in my circle or around me, because that is good. Like, that is what you want to have, people doing something. So why is it that you will have those type of people around you, but then you'll go outside to somebody who you may not know all like that, they'll tell you something opposite of what somebody who really want to see you grow, and you take their advice quicker than you'll take somebody else's advice?
Well, in those situations, there's nothing that you can do about it. Because if the person does not, like I say, have that spirit of discernment, know that they have the right people in their group. I just did this thing the other day on the live, the TikTok live, about the grown woman reset. I think all women need to have powerful women around them, core, good, solid women. Now, I'm not, like I say, I'm not talking about nobody that got spirit of anxiety and insecurity and all this other garbage. I'm talking about, even if you had two good women that you had in your circle, because normally my number's 4, but two good ones that could give you solid advice, that could pull your coat and check you. And when I say check you, not like getting all in your face, but coming at you with solid, loving kindness that says, take a step back and look at yourself. Because if you have solid women in your corner, somebody's going to check you and share good information with you. If you are going off of the rails, the wheels have fallen off the car and you can no longer progress, Those two good solid ones can straighten it out, can assist you with getting yourself straight, because they
Mm.
can't do it for you, but at least you got some good people that can share it with you. Now, if
Right.
you now that's the good advice. Now, if
Right.
you tend to want to just go to the streets and get out here in the streets and allow anything, thank you, babe, and allow anything to be popping off, you gonna just take advice from Karen and Chuck and Cindy and Craig and them, and you don't know what Craig and them been through, but you gonna
Right.
go listen to Craig and them, and you can't listen to the good, solid folks that's trying to pull your coat and assist you, then that's
Mhm.
on you. Because when the wheels fall off of that bus, please don't come running back to the camp talking about, look what happened to me. It ain't
Right.
like I listen, I'll listen and I'll just nod my head. Mhm.
Right.
And depending on what God says, it will let you back in the circle. But see,
Mhm.
you got to tighten your circle up to where you can trust the people that are in your circle. See, that's that
Mhm.
eagle and that chicken again. Eagles
Mhm.
should not be rocking with chickens. I don't
Mhm.
care what you say, because a chicken is not on your level. A
Mhm.
chicken don't know how to elevate above a storm and just let the wind catch it and wait till the storm pass. Oh, Jesus. All a chicken know how to do is just be poo-poo in the barnyard. And the
Right.
chicken can't even fly. So the chicken ain't
Right.
gonna never be able to elevate with you. How
Right.
about you get a group of eagles and y'all just get to flying? You ever
Exactly.
seen geese when they migrating? They in a pattern.
Mhm.
They all going together in a pattern. Ain't
Right.
nobody trying to take over the leader. Ain't no eagle trying to the lead bird. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Let's just rock together. But
Exactly.
if you don't want that, God had to teach me and I'm talking about from 2020 to this
Mhm.
day. Stop trying to drag people by their edges and make them do things. And one friend of mine that I know, and we working on her retirement plan. Honey, I'm gonna do I'm gonna do a prayer journal for me and her. Got two separate. But see, I want to cover her because she got that spirit of care and love and loyalty. So see, I work with her behind it. I ain't trying to pull nobody by the edges. You might pull their wig off.
That
Shit.
is too funny. Now listen,
No,
I hope I'm not screwing this man name up, but this got me thinking about. I was watching this. I think his name, and I might be wrong. I have to look and make sure. But I think his name was Marcus Riley, a comedian. He's like a religious, like he's like a clean comedian where he like does
oh,
a lot of stuff in churches and different things. I think that's his name, but oh, I hope I ain't messing his name up. But I was
okay.
watching something the other day where he was doing a podcast, and on the podcast he talked about like even with getting like opinions from people that you're around, and he was talking about, he said, because they was talking about one of their homies, they was like somebody who worked with them, the people who at the podcast, they was like they had a guy who was working with them, and the guy was a young guy, he was actually younger than them, and he was going through some marital issues, but he had cheated. And he was like, but a year later, he was like, the girl was still giving him like drama. Like it was always like, how some guys, they be like, oh, she want to know where you at. And she did, but because they looking at it, they not married, nor had they at the time ever been married. And so what Marcus was saying, he was like, that's when it comes to your circle. He was like, because when you are married, when he was like, when you're married, you want to kind of be around more married couples. And he said, because, and he was like an adult couple, he said, and very mature. He said, why? Because he was like, when he was in a situation with his woman and his friend was there, his friend and him, he would be like, okay, no, you were wrong. You need to fix this. You need to do this, and the other. And then when he talking, oh, I just want to leave. I want to get a divorce. He like, no, because you go out there in them streets and you're going to be wishing you could stay back in the situation that you was in. And they was telling him, oh man, you just need to go, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you can find another, that type of thing. And he was just like, but when you have, he was like, that's how you know the power of your circle, even in relationships, because you'll have different friends and people and family and different people around that will see a situation happen. Yes, the situation may not be good, but the person that hasn't been in that or don't really have that mindset will be like, oh, you better go. That's like the girl was saying about Tyrese. Remember Tyrese, the singer, and his ex-wife went on a podcast, and then she started talking about how she had all her girlfriends in her ears about leaving him, and then that's why she wanted to leave the relationship. However, she should have stayed because she let outside people in her head. And so that's why I'm like, people got to be careful about those opinions of your circles as well, because if you got a person that really want to see y'all love and want to see you happy, sometimes it's not always about saying break loose. You know what I mean? So you got to
they'll give you some solid advice.
Right. And
you got to think about it. Some of them same ones is telling you, oh, forget it, run out. They want you miserable and at the club with them. How about that? How about that?
Exactly. And so that's what he was talking about. And that's it. And that's why I'm like, that's where that maturity comes in. And when it comes to your circle again, because it's like you have to, just like when it comes to like, well, with this situation, when I was telling you first thing, like I was even having to get with my daughter when all that stuff happened with my sister. I was talking about the first thing, where we pulling up? I'm like, no, that's not how we handle things. I'm like, you have to handle things the right way. You don't go and want to try to jump a person and try to go. That's not how you handle. When a person you know clearly did something wrong, you handle it the right way because that person is going to get theirs. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. You don't go with the ghetto mentality. You got to leave that alone. You got to step back on that. You can't do that. And so that's why I'm like, you also need those kind of people around you too, because you have some people who won't say that in a circle. And that's why you got so many people getting locked up and killed, because as soon as something happened, the first thing they want to do is pop off and we're up. And when we going and let's go handle this right now. No, you got to use your mind first. And you have to get people back with your head. Not get back with people the street way, because that's going to leave you in the wrong direction later on and make things worse. And that's another thing that people need to understand, because every time something happens, if that's your circle and that's what they're always telling you to do, or that's their first result of something happening, then that's a circle you need to get away from.
Sis, you are the hammer.
And I'm like, that's serious.
You are the hammer banging the nail, sis, because that is so true. Because and that's a part of our wisdom. That's the wisdom that we want to impart into our young people, right? But it's also in this mentality, in this day and age, I wouldn't run up and just pull up on nobody, because everybody is armed, including me. So I'm just saying, come on, let's keep it a buck. Everybody is armed. So I would advise people, please do not run up on King and Queen Day with no foolishness. And I guarantee you, we will not be running up on you, because if it cannot be worked out by the authorities, the court of law, now just don't put your hands on me, then you will find out a different thing. But if it can't be worked out like that, then we don't need to be around each other. We're going to settle it in a mature way. But honey, I see a lot of this stuff. And like we said last time, don't be taking everything to social media. Take it to the law. Take it to the court of law. But don't run up on people, because people got weapons, and a lot of people are unhinged. They don't have a cat or a car, and they don't care what they do. Just think about it. When you ain't got nothing to lose, people will violate any and everybody.
You just said it right there, when you have nothing to lose. And that's a lot of times with people, when they have nothing, they don't have, like, you'll have people who may not have kids, people who may not have a home, people, you know what I mean? Things that people may not have a job, people may not have, look at all the things that you were blessed with that can get taken away from you. And so that's what you have to look at before you start switching off. Let me look at some of these comments. I see where Step Girl. Yeah, on Instagram, we have Step Girl who says, shine your light every step that you take in love, every step that God leads you to. People need to speak that fact of what they know and not what they think. And if they were in your face, they wasn't be, I don't know what she mean by be a PT. I don't know. It says, this is what happens with artists trying to sell abstract. Everybody wants a discount. My art is my gift from God and is blessed and worthy. Yes, that's true. Exactly.
Yeah. And stick with your value.
And then she said that's the fastest way to go to the way to jail and to the grave. Exactly. And that's facts. because at the end of the day, you have to have a clear head. And that's why, like, a lot of times people don't really understand when we talked about this in I think two episodes ago, when we talked about mental health, and we
Mhm.
talked about depression and anxiety and things like that. And a lot of times when people are going through those type of things, you just pop off and all, you
Yeah.
might not have a clear head. And so that's why I'm like, and I still practice it. Like, I have to still practice it to this day. I don't react on things right away anymore. Like how I used to be,
Yeah.
like, catch the attitude and just saying whatever. Now I actually wait until I'm calm, and then I communicate. And this is even when it comes to my partner, my child, whoever. I don't want to have conversation. I'll be like, I'll talk to you later, or I'll talk to you tomorrow, because I don't want to say the wrong thing that can be hurtful later on. And I think that sometimes people just react instead of thinking first. And that's why a lot of times things can happen when you just reacting. Because I remember what was this? I would say a couple months ago, I was so angry. I was like, so, and I realized at that point that I had to fall back, because it was a girl who I thought we was really, really cool. Remember, I was telling you, I'm like, I'm thinking me and this girl is like bread and butter, like we cool, cool, cool. And then turn around, I'm hearing all this stuff like, oh, this person said this person said that, this person this, that. And I'm just like, what? And here I am defending this person when people come to me. And that's another thing. What is you saying when people are around? You see what I'm saying? Like, are you defending me the same way? So then when I got so angry about it, that I went on there and called and was just, you know what I mean, at the tongue. But, but I'm just like, but if I would have sat back, but then I realized, okay, I was being a bigger person, and I actually apologized for how I responded. I wasn't going to apologize for how I felt because you hurt me. However, I
Mhm.
apologized for how I
You
responded, because I was
responded.
like, that's where I'm starting to learn to, when you do wrong, you need to apologize for your wrong. And that's just me. I'm like, if
Yes.
I'm wrong, I'm going to apologize when I'm wrong, because I shouldn't have
Yeah.
came off that way. However,
Oh,
you were
yeah.
wrong making for how what's the word, making me think that you're something that you're not, so you gave me a false advertisement of yourself, basically, and
Yeah.
you were thing when I'm thinking you're something else. And so at that point I have to have a different relationship with you. So I stepped back completely and was like, let me put this on a pause, you know what I
Mhm.
mean, when it comes to me being around this person, me communicating with this person, me being in this person's circle. It took me a
Right.
minute, but then I was able to be like, you know what? I'm mature. I'm grown. Enough time has passed. I can be in the same existence, and I'm not going to have no ill nil to this person. I can smile. Hey, how you doing? Da, 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 and keep
Mhm.
it pushing, because I'm like, I'm growing in that matter. But sometimes some people will take you out of character when they give you them false pretenses of who they are.
And that's their intention too. But see,
Mhm.
sometimes still, even like you say, we can forgive because forgiveness is for us. We want God
Right.
to get our prayers and our blessings past the ceiling. But what I've learned to do, honey, like the roulette dealers out here in Vegas, you clap your hands like a roulette dealer and let them go. Because that
Mhm.
is the fact of the matter. And me, you know me, like I shared with you about who I was. I was a verbal assassin. I could assassinate you with my mouth. I would
Mhm.
leave you walled up in a corner in a fetal position when I got through with you. Okay. But
Mhm.
it's not who Queen Day is. I don't have to be that
Mhm.
person. I need to stay away from people that will bring that out of my character. The old me, that if she gonna show up and she feel like she got to assassinate and take heads and think about hitting people in their throat with the back of my hand, then I don't need to be around you. And that's what that did for me. But up till 4 years ago,
Mhm.
I was with that old school group. I lit them up. I said we having to come to Jesus meeting. Had the nerve to put Jesus in. We was having to come to Jesus meeting. I lit up the whole room. Well, not the whole room, but those demons that were in the room, and I let them know how I felt. But it was a lot of hurt from high school, and then for them to drudge up all this same old hate again, just hating on me. I felt I had to say what I had to say, and I got it off my chest. And I was on my Zoom, right? But then a day
Mhm.
later, 2 days later, the Spirit of the Lord checked me so bad. He said, no, 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 you're not representing me right now. That's not what we're going to do. And matter of fact, told me since I wanted to show my behind publicly, I needed to apologize publicly. So I called
Right.
another meeting, and some of them came, some of them didn't. But I even went
Mhm.
onto the stage and I apologized for my behavior. Just like you
Right.
said, people can do whatever they gonna try to trigger you, but your response is the only thing you have control over. And for me to
Right.
show my good old natural black behind, I had to apologize. And anybody that didn't receive it, oh well, that's okay. I did my part. I did what I was supposed to do. And I thank
Right.
God for that. I thank God for that level of maturity, that level of
Right.
knowing. And since that time, I ain't never had to do that again. Because even if somebody trying to take me there, I give them a look, and it's just like, wow, I see that spirit. And then I'll cut it off. But honey, like I said, the roulette clap, they're like a roulette dealer.
Mm-hmm. The
Ain't got
step
nothing.
girl. She said that's right. The right response, not to react. Mm-hmm. But
Not at
yeah,
all.
that's so. It's just so real. Like when it comes to reactions, like I'm seeing. I was looking at the news and I saw where a guy killed his wife and child. Like he killed the wife and the child and going to jail all because something stupid. You see what I'm saying? So you literally
Oh,
took two
yeah.
lives because
But
of something that y'all could have really sat down and had a conversation about. And that's another thing people are not good with communicating. People
oh
can't
my
take people.
God.
And then we go back to mindset shift because again, you're talking about people not being able to sit down and have those conversations without feeling offended at everything somebody say to you.
But
Like
sis, okay,
you can't
last
get
thing on
mad
this.
at everything or always taking so personal every time somebody say something.
Sis, let me share this. Even out here in this YouTube world, right? There about a couple of months back, I did a video on this, and I said tragedy in my city.
Mhm,
It was two YouTubers, but one guy and his wife, I think they lived in
mhm,
Cali or Arizona, and then one guy that was out here in Las Vegas.
mhm,
They began to have a beef with one another. They used to follow each other, but some kind of way a beef came up. The other guy and his wife's channel was growing, and this guy was getting mad. They would come to Vegas, the white husband and wife,
mhm,
and vlog out here in Vegas and stuff. And this guy was like, "This is my city," and blah blah blah. So all of this craziness. So it kept escalating, kept escalating. He's thinking they flagging his page. All of this petty stuff. Girl, how about the husband and wife?
mhm.
1 year before they came out here and said the dude has mace the wife with mace. So you could tell this
Oh
stuff is,
wow.
yeah, that was then. So
Mhm.
this year they came out here for their birthday and anniversary, and they're going live. They're streaming across the street from the Bellagio. This crazy guy had been driving around before they went live. He hear they in town. He's seeing they post, and he looking for them. He driving in the car, actually recording this. And so
Wow.
finally, when they go live, that's why a lot of times you don't really want to be going live real time all the time, especially if people got issues with you. So they across from the Bellagio just recording their stuff and doing
Mhm.
this. This demon comes walking past them right down the sidewalk in the middle of the evening. He walked past them, then he turned around, come back, pulls a gun, and shoots the husband 2 times in his head. And the
Wow.
wife is like, all this is on live. And the wife is screaming, "Oh my God,
Wow.
oh my God, you get out." And then when she's screaming, next thing you know, he turned around and he shoot her too, kill both of them, then
Wow.
tried to run across the street and run away. But they caught his behind the next morning where he turned himself in. So now he's facing 2 charges of first-degree murder over a
Wow.
beef. And
Wow.
that couple had 3 kids. They kids was all just hurt and crying, and they was out here just for their dad birthday, for the husband's birthday, and all of
Wow.
that mess, all of that. But like I said, people are not in their right minds. I'm not. Like I say, I don't want to challenge nobody. Don't nobody touch me, and all of that
Right.
stuff with parents getting in your face. Keep your
Mm,
distance. Do not come closer to me than my arm distance of my arm, because now you in my personal bubble. Don't do
right.
that, and I won't do that to you. But it's
Exactly.
crazy. It's crazy.
That is insane. That is really
Is that
insane. Over
nuts?
beef. Wow.
YouTube beef. And he down here in Clark County Jail right now. They just arraigned his butt the other day, and they trying to put him up on life. I don't think they said death penalty, but life without possibility of parole is what they going for after him. So now your life is done.
Wow.
You ain't gonna have that many subscribers in the jail.
That's insane. And like I tell people, this is something like opinions don't pay your bills, action does. Knowing the difference between advice and projection, trusting your gut over outside noise, and building that confidence so that opinions don't shake your foundation. Those are things that you really have to keep a hold of when it comes to, again, other people's opinions that don't have nothing to do with you. People are always going to have something to say, whether you're doing good, whether you're doing bad. Let people talk. That is not going to shape you in any way. It's not going to pay your bills anyway. It's not going to gain you anything anyway. You have to ignore. The one person who I kind of sit back and I look at, and I really, and I'm not really like an admirer like that, but I really watch how he moved, and that is how Jay-Z is. If you ever notice, people say so much stuff, even when they had the kid trying to get the DNA. You got 50 Cent, all these different people that have been saying so much stuff about him. And have you ever once seen him go on there and comment or say anything about anything that was going on? You never hear it. And that's because of him. Like he said, he has more to lose than some comments on social media. He's a billionaire. He's like, I don't have time to be sitting here dealing with somebody who might be making $30,000 trying to come up. And now they'll go, these are things that people don't want to have to go through. I'm not going to go back and forth with somebody that's not on my level, and I'm not going to lose everything I got over something so petty. And it's just a conversation. It's just your opinion. So people have to understand, people have opinions. Let them have their opinions, and don't let that affect you and your life. So to the bottom line, opinions will always be there. They're always going to be there. Some will help. Exactly. And some of those opinions, they go help you grow. Some will try to hold you back. But at the end of the day, you decide how much way they carry in your life and in your business. So stop letting people who aren't paying your bills control your decisions. I want to say thank y'all for hanging out with me and Miss Day all day tonight. And I want y'all to just go ahead and drop in the comments. Do you let opinions fuel or stop you? And if you found value in this conversation, share this live so somebody else can catch this word too. Until next time, keep building, keep believing, and keep winning, y'all. And don't let those opinions shape you. Y'all have a good night. Thank y'all.
If you're an eagle, don't run with chickens.
Yes. So thank y'all, and we see y'all next Thursday. Have a good weekend, everybody.